Hello, friends. It is a very wonderful privilege to be coming before God and to hear from His words, to listen to His voice speaking to us, and to experience His goodness from day to day. These times are not easy, for sure, and it is a very common question that we meet. How how do we cope with discouragement? How do we cope with times like this? Yet, we are very thankful that God always reminds us that He never leaves us alone, and in everything that we go through, His strength will sustain us. I'd like to share a little of my testimony. Like all of us, I have several stories to tell, but I will try to share something that I hope will help us get through whatever challenge or crisis we are facing, both externally or within. I've been blind since I was 3. I lost my sight to cancer in the retinas, and I've been living since then in total blindness. Yet, this is where I have proved the true meaning of hope amidst hopelessness. We may well imagine ourselves living in a blackout. Like, how do we read? How do we cook? How do we do our work without sight, without light? It is hard, because the truth is this world is made for the visual, and without sight you will have to do much adjusting and much coping. That has been my life, and I am very happy and exceeding grateful to tell you that God has never left me alone. Though times may seem hard, though everything may seem dark, God always has a way, and this is what I've proved. And I'll share with you 3 secrets that have enabled me to be pressing forward despite my condition. Number 1 is look for the purpose in everything. When God allows challenges to come to your life, it's so that He could accomplish something better in you and for you. As long as we fix our eyes on this purpose, we are sure that we will never be discouraged, because we know that all that happens so that we can become someone better and someone more useful. As long as we put our trust in God, we will not be discouraged. Like what we read in the first chapter of Philippians, He who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Number 2, always remember that God is light. It is very hard to look for light when it goes out, right? When a blackout happens, or when you, for instance, go to a cave and your flashlight goes out, you may well be terrified, because it will be very hard to live without light. Now the question is, in this life, in our experiences, what kind of light do we use? Or what kind of light do we live by? Do we consider our own knowledge, our own wisdom, light sufficient to lead us through life? No, this will not work, my friends. Like, we know nothing. We can't see the future. We can't even expect what can happen to us the very next moment, although we try to reason out of logic. Yet, in God, everything is clear. We see the future. He tells us what will be in the spirit of prophecy, and though we may not know exactly the things which are going to take place from moment to moment, yet we know that if everything is in God's hands, everything will be all right. And Jesus tells us in John 8:12, He is the light of life, and as long as we follow Him, we will never walk in darkness. And number 3, the third lesson I'd like to share with you is that God is the one who holds our future. Unless we put this in mind, we will always fear. But unless we understand that God holds our future and that in Him our tomorrows are sure, we will always have that hope and that courage to press forward. And let me leave this verse with you today. This is Psalm 27 verse 1. It says, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" Put your trust in God, and you will live this year grateful, happy, and strong. And you shall welcome the next year happy in the service of the Lord.